Man, this comic book sucks. And the reviews online said it was good. I wasted my money. Why didn't somebody tell me?
Hello everybody, this is Spinnerack and we're back with comic reviews. Right here you got Petey and we also have Calvin Ellis.
Calvin Ellis, we got 3 reviews for you, one at a time. Who's up first?
Well, our producer, Mr. Big Business, said we should do something current, more current than the ones I planned for you. So we have a Thor.
Yeah.
We have a Thor comic for you.
Yeah, whose bright idea was this?
I don't know. But Thor, you guys seem to like the Thor review, so we decided, you know what, maybe we do, because there's a little change happening in this one.
Look, I got thrown off on the first page, okay? Because I had to go back. I had to go read back based on the first page. I had to go read back.
Let's look at the cover. If we look at the cover, it looks like the Thor of the legend, like red beard. I was like, this is gonna be another change?
Yeah, don't fall for it. That was a trick. That was a trick.
So sorry to cut you off on that. I just wanted to point out on the cover. So you're looking at it, you're like, oh, this is gonna be a big change. Not someone else picking up the hammer. Sorry to spoil it. We have to, because there's not much else to talk about in this book.
Well, I saw that. I was thinking Red Norval from some of the older stories. I was like, well, maybe he's back or something. And then, of course, you have the homage cover, from Thor 337.
Yes, yeah.
So you're like, okay, let's see what's going on. But then from the very first page, I had to go and read back.
Yeah.
Because they made the mention of there are 10 realms. I was like, there are 10 realms? There are only 9 realms. I was like, oh Lord, something happened, and I didn't read it. So then I had to go back. There's a 10th realm, and this. I was like, oh God. I was like, these people don't know where to leave let enough alone. So then after I read back, then I could come back and start reading through this.
But what did you read to get to that? Because I was like totally lost when it said.
There was some war with Asgard and this other 10th realm called Heaven, spelled without an A. And this was when they brought Angela from Spawn into the Marvel Universe, and they were fighting with Heaven. And I was looking.
Wait a second, they were fighting with the people from Heaven, or is it a character named Heaven?
No, that's the 10th realm. It's named Heaven.
Okay.
That's the 10th realm. So I had to go back and read all of that to say, okay, fine, because this place still exists and all this, and Angela's Thor's sister. I was like, good grief, you guys don't have any ideas. It used to be the House of Ideas. Anyway.
Just one idea.
Yeah, one idea. Keep changing stuff. SJW nonsense. Anyway, so you get there and we have like Omebian verses. We got 2 different stories going on. One, and then the subcurrent one, and the one that you want to pay attention to is the one, of course, between Thor and Jane Foster.
That's the one you were supposed to? I'm sorry to ask that.
That's the one you're supposed to pay attention to. That's what we're reading the book for. If you're like me and you still dabble with Thor, I want to see when this finally means, like, when is this going to be over? When is this going to end? You already got Thor and unworthy Thor. You're like, when is this going to be over? When do I get the real Thor back at the end of the day? And I mean the real Thor, okay? Jane Foster is not Thor. I don't want to hear any nonsense about, well, she's worthy to pick up the hammer. You guys never answered any of this. You didn't answer why it was he couldn't pick up. You didn't answer anything. I'm just waiting for it to be over. Fine. So they have some dialogue between them, and it's some of the cheapest parsing that you could ever imagine. Thor comes across as some sort of jerk. Like he's like, you're doing this to me because I cheated on you or something. I'm like, wait a minute. When did that happen while they were together? It didn't. It didn't happen. Yeah. That's number one. Jane Foster got godly power. Odin gave her godly power. She was not up to snuff. And so Odin said, well, that's it. She can't be in. And Thor got angry over the whole thing. Odin had to punish him. That's what the storyline was. All right? That's exactly what happened. This is like some modern retconning, simply again so we can push some third wave SJW nonsense down other people's throat. And it doesn't come across as believable. She is dying from cancer. She cannot get better because she keeps picking up the hammer. The hammer automatically makes her well because she's Thor. But as soon as she puts the hammer back down as Jane Foster, all the treatment that she had goes out the window. She's starting again.
What do you mean? Wait, you're saying that I thought it would be not going back to nothing. I think the hammer and the transformation would be sort of a healing process, not decaying, making it worse.
No, from what I'm getting from the story, every time she picks up that hammer, she's pretty much back to square one. So she's not, because if she was healing, she'd look a lot damn better. So she's back to square one every time. So what's the obvious thing you want to do? hey, you want to be Thor. That's pretty much the end of it. And she's debating the ability. I'm like, look, either you're going to cure her or you're not going to cure her. You're going to kill her, which I would have no problem with because I've never liked Jane Foster as a character. Okay, but they're not making any decision as to that. And then to add insult to injury at this point, what happens? What happens?
Oh,
we get a new Thor.
Well, okay.
We get a
So
new Thor.
then there's also a story with the dwarfs, and it's a hodgepodge. It's really hard to follow, but when they're in this realm, they have Volstagg, they have a shield, someone from Shield, and they run into this dwarf that brings them to see these elves that have been like refugees for elves that have been all injured, and something happens that has a moment where Volstagg, who's usually humorous, he's helping these kids, something happened terrible to make him take the next step. And is there anything with this other hammer that you have to be worthy about, or is this a revenge hammer? Because it looks like it's a revenge.
This looks like, he's supposed to be the war Thor. So I guess the only way
Volstagg
that you can be worthy is that you want to go to war.
He would be the humor Thor. Like, you can't turn Volstagg into like a...
Of course you can. You can turn anybody into Thor.
He even got skinny. He picks up the hammer and he's all like fit now.
No, look, you can turn anybody into Thor, okay? I give you a hammer, you'll be able to cut tape, no problem. Okay, you give me a hammer, I'm going to turn into what? I'll turn into Super Thor. That's how it's working at this day. It's so bad. It's just so bad. I'm just waiting. At this point, all I can do is, my only endeavor would be entreat Marvel. Can you please bring this to a conclusion? It has gone on long enough. Between Thor not being Thor, Captain America being a bloody Nazi, and everything else that you're doing at this point, there is nothing enjoyable.
They have Legacy coming.
They have to have Legacy coming because they screwed up so
bad.
bad.
But Legacy looks wackier than this stuff.
Bruce Banner's dead. No, because what Marvel's trying to do, they don't want to lose any of the readers they got who are reading this SJW nonsense of theirs.
So, in ending, Thor. So wait a second. Let's backtrack with the Legacy and these changes that they're making and getting it back. Like, why is it so hard? I mean, are they waiting until after the movie so Thor can get his hair back and whatnot and not look like the Thor that's going to be in the movie? How long is Aaron going to play this out?
When is it over?
Yeah,
remember
that's a good question.
What was that show? When does the hurting stop? When
does
the hurting stop?
So, I mean, to me, it's a hard read. It's a really hard read. I'm glad you took up a lot of the slack because to me, it's really jumbled in my head, and it's not something I could recommend. So but I mean, you Aaron fans, I don't know. Someone's got to say something to us to explain this because it's been going on. And our biggest response or our bigger views have been on these Thor issues. So you're out there, but you gotta say something to us of why you're liking this. That's what I gotta say. I can't necessarily give this any sort of
Thor readers. The guys reading it are not Thor readers. But and they're gonna what they want to do, and they can't afford to do this time. They want to keep. Okay, they want to keep the guys who like the social stuff going on and those changes. They want to try to keep as many of them as possible, and then bring the guys who have said, "Look, I'm not reading this nonsense until Thor comes back," and try to. That's what it seems like they're trying to do because they want to do Legacy, and then the other thing is, it doesn't seem like. I don't think Aaron has an ending to this story yet because if we end the logical way, Jane Foster should be dead because she has to give up the hammer. Unless they're really just going to, we're going to give a new hammer. And they're like, well, how many damn hammers are there going to be at this point? There's going to be 5 different hammers?
Yeah.
Then it's going to be like Team Thor?
That's what's also happening. Because, well, if you look, I mean, in the Simonson run towards the end, there's a moment where the Zaniac comes and kills Jane Foster. And Jane Foster has, a family now. She was she was pregnant. And it's a harsh moment, and you see Thor react still as someone that he loved. And then they're able to resolve the story. But it's interesting to see Thor hadn't been with Jane, but he still had that place in his heart for her. And this is just totally throwing the dynamic, because Thor's never, the thing is that Odin screwed up most of the relationship, and her, because of this Thor's story, the early ones was that Thor is staying away from Asgard, staying on Earth, and he's not with Jane Foster. He's fighting all these things, so she's feeling neglected. And that's the push-pull that Thor was going through. So yeah, at some point she was a little petty, but ultimately there was love there, and Thor never had anything negative towards her. He never was nasty to her.
Or unfaithful for that
yes,
matter.
there you go. So there's a strong, at least on Thor's side, it's all positive. Yes, Stan could be, stereotypical at some points, but way Simonson left off, that Thor has strong feelings for her, but he's moved on, they've moved on, and he's there to save her like he'd save anybody. Don't throw it away just for this dialogue, and I don't know, it hurts.
But that's what they want. The people reading it, that's what they want. Well, let's score it.
Score it. It's going to be a big little donut, It's not no hole in the donut. It's a 0 for me.
Yeah, what can I say? Well, if you didn't remember my name, allow me to reintroduce myself. My name is
That goes along with the Jay-Z new album that's coming out. So far I'm 4 songs deep, and it's pretty good. Haven't listened to Jay-Z in a long time, so you know how bad it is when we start to trail off on other things.
Yep.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, Spinnerack. You saved me money.